Greeting online students. Welcome to Lecture 1. You will find that in the lectures for online, I have inserted snippets of campus lectures as well, in which concepts are explained in a campus class, and there are moments to go ahead and work through a concept as the class does. I suggest you do the same. Have your keyboard ready for scales and progressions, things like that. There are also tutorials offered within the course. But I'm also going to go through the lecture slides that we're about to look at now, step by step, and of course insert those campus lectures as well. Everything we can do to make as many available sources of information for you to do well in the course. So let's get started. Here are the required materials, pretty obvious things. You can look through the slides slowly on your own, and of course, you know all the things that are required. Let me just highlight, you need the actual version of Sibelius, not the trial version, and everything else is pretty much standard. Topics that you'll be hitting during musicianship. We're going to look at developing keyboard skills, but not really as a skill so much as a means for you to demonstrate your understanding of theory, harmony, rhythm, execution, and the like. Within keyboard skills, scales, diatonic chords, seventh chords, progressions, and voice leading. We do want you to kick your game up as far as voice leading goes. It will be a very important skill to have down the line. We'll talk more about that as we move forward. Listening and ear training skills demonstrated via vocal expression. It's not about your singing voice. It's about being able to reproduce pitch and melody and communicate with other musicians through the voice in describing and demonstrating pitch. So we'll be concerned with pitch matching. We'll be using solfege and having solfege drills available to you. Solfege is just do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, as you may or may not know. Also be asking you to demonstrate vocally scales, triads, seventh chords, arpeggios, and to do some sight singing. True sight singing is when you are handed a piece of music you've never seen before. You're supposed to sing it on sight. You will get all the exercises ahead of time and have time to work on them. I highly suggest you use your keyboard to play exercises to match your pitch, your voice to the exercises, and wean yourself away from being accompanied as soon as possible, because when you go to submit your weekly evaluations of your skills, it is not acceptable to accompany yourself. You are supposed to sing a cappella without accompaniment. Let's look at rhythm skills. Of course, we'll be looking simple and compound meter. Of course, we want you to be able to read, count, and accurately perform rhythms. There'll be more information forthcoming in lectures and tutorials. Your oral theory skills, your hearing, how that ear is working. You want to make sure you have your intervals under control. Of course, you need to be able to identify chord qualities. You'll be doing pitch and melody transcription. Pitch dictation, melody transcription are very related. Rhythmic dictation, of course, and chord progressions that you'll need to work on being able to hear. Excuse me. And most of these oral theory skills you'll be working with in auralia. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of auralia and working in it on a regular basis, not just the day before the assignments due. As far as notation goes, you'll have two large projects, a chord chart and a lead sheet. That is done in Sibelius, and you should be sketching it out first on staff paper to give you a better grasp and make it much easier to input the final project into Sibelius. Your grade weights. Excuse me. I always dislike this portion, but I know you're all anxious to know. I wish I didn't have to give anybody grades that you could just learn freely, but that's not the way it works. We need accountability. We have to grade and assess where you are in your learning and development in the program. So for this course, we have 4 auralia tests, 6% each for 24 musicians, 4 that come out to 12%, quizzes each week that come to 12% in the end. You have weekly skills evaluations. There are 4 of those for each of the 4 weeks. Those are 5%. Those are 20% each. There's your Project 1 chord chart. Your Project 2 is the lead sheet transcription, and of course there's your professionalism grade. Please keep in mind, folks, exceptions are only for emergencies. Please be sure to manage your time well. Reliable use, reliable Wi-Fi is critical. That was part of the understanding of your taking online work that you would be sure to have a reliable Wi-Fi source. Weak or inadequate Wi-Fi is not a valid excuse for late assignments. If you hit some sort of drastic situation, please contact your instructor ahead of time as is possible. As far as your weekly skills evaluations, please be sure to hyperlink them in accordance with the instructions that go along with those submission of those weekly skills evaluations assignments. Submissions that are not hyperlinked will not be graded. Moving on. So what's in the skills evaluation? This exact discussion will come up in a campus lecture that will be inserted into this whole lecture video. But basically, you have a few scales, usually 2 per week. The very first evaluation has 4 keys in it, so that's the biggest one as far as keys go. You have to go through the triads, the diatonic triads of the keys we're studying. There are short pieces for demonstrating and understanding harmony. There are chord progressions in our evaluation. The ear training skills evidenced by vocal demonstration. You have to sing major and minor scales, arpeggios, sight singing exercises, and there are rhythm skills every week as well. The on-campus lecture snippet that will be in this lecture goes over this quite clearly. So here is the first section. It's skills and diatonic triads. This is discussed in detail in the lecture live from campus that will be inserted, edited in at this point, so you can see there. The scales for the first evaluation are G major and its relative minor E minor, F major and its relative minor D minor. I just want to be very clear. The scales you'll see, and perhaps we'll take a look at that now.
Okay, so here's generally what's in each of the 4 weeks. Overall look of what's in each of the 4 packages that you're evaluated on at the end of each week. There's usually 2 to 4 keys per week. Most of them are 2 keys. The first one is intense, I will tell you that. You name the notes while playing the scales. We'll go over that briefly. When you're doing your triads, I want the Roman numeral, the letter name, and the spelling of triads. We'll do that. There are little short piano pieces for demonstrating and understanding harmony. That's basically what I want you to do, is understand what's going on with the harmony. It involves playing the keyboard, and I'm very flexible as far as how your execution goes, but your execution needs to reflect some degree of understanding what the harmonic content going on is, and you'll see as we move along with that. Chord progressions, the ear training section, you're actually going to sing major and minor scales, arpeggios, major arpeggios, dominant seventh arpeggios, and sight singing exercises, which I said are not genuine sight singing, and we have rhythm exercises. So let's look at number 1. Completely unreadable, way too small. Here's numero uno. Scales we're going to look at you on are G major and E minor, both natural and harmonic minor, and F major and D minor, both natural and harmonic minor. Make sense? You guys shouldn't be going, what is that? You guys should be going, okay, I guess I got to get my fingering right. Yeah, you do. Cool. You have to play them at a minimum speed of 70 BPM with a metronome is required. So G major, here you go. Common fingering for like half of the 12 possible scales. With right hand is 1, 2, 3. Thumb goes under, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you just reverse it coming down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Okay? Left hand, since our hands don't look like this, they're mirror image. You're just reversing. Instead of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, left hand you're going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're starting the other way. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, back down 2, 3, thumb under, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fingering is not rocket science. It's basically you got 5 of these, and for scales you got to play 8 of them, and what you have to figure out is where's the best place to have facility of changing over to get those 5 to come out to equal 8 places to play. But we'll help you. All the fingerings. Oh, every single package has fingering sheets in it. Once in a while I have a student go right hand or left hand. I'm like, use your dominant hand. I'm genuinely trying to make this easy for you to execute. If you're right-handed, use your right hand. If you're left-handed, use your left hand. Okay? You only have to play one hand with the scale. You do not have to play two hands. That's not so. That's for people who have been taking piano lessons for years and years, okay? One hand, up and down. Don't repeat the top note. Okay, G major. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Ready? Set. Here we go. One hand, nice and slow. Go. G, A, B, thumb under for C, 2 on D, 3 on E, 4 on F sharp, 5 on G, F sharp on 4, 3, 2, 1, 3 over to 3, 2, 1. One more time, righties, you're on your own. 1, 2, say again.
Right back down.
Yes, don't repeat the top note. Some people repeat top notes, some people don't. I do not. Do not. 1, 2, I'm speaking left hand, righties, you're on your own. Go. G, 5, 4, 3, 2, don't rush. 1, 3 over 3, 2 on F sharp, 1, 2, 3, 3, 3. Thumb under on, thumb under, 1, and then just use your fingers up. Beautiful. Okay, I'm not going to talk about the triads yet because I want to look at F major. F major throws a little bit of a wrench in the works. Many scales end up with that right hand 1, 2, 3, thumb under 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 deal. 3, 2, 1, right? Or left hand 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, because, like I said, our hands are mirror images. They don't look like this. They're mirror images. So the left hand and right hand tend to be mirrors of one another. When we get to F, we got one flat. And if you look the way the keyboard's laid out, if you just kind of like relax your hand right here in this area, look at where the fourth finger ends up of your right hand. Ends up on B flat a lot. So not exclusively. F major is 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'm not kidding. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thumb under. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pinky gets a vacation for F major. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Thumb under. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back down. 3, 2, 1. 4's got to cross over your thumb. 4, 3, 2, 1. Make sense? Left hand. Yay! You don't have to do squat. It's still 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. It's the same fingering. Now, here's the thing that I've been doing for you. You guys need to say the name of the key as you play it. So I would literally want you going. F, G, A, B flat. That's what I want to hear. Okay? 1, 2, F major, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thumb under. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4 on B flat, 3, 2, 1. I think it's easier when I went through as an undergrad, as a piano major, when I went through music school, we were told constantly to visualize a keyboard. I think it helps you understand harmony. You got one right in front of you. You can't play it when we're doing triads, but go ahead and look. You got a visual aid right in front of you. Use it. Here's how triads go. First, I want the Roman numeral. Next, I want the letter name of the chord.
That was scale.
I want you to spell it.
When we're doing triads, there's a very specific way we would like to see the your discussion, your display, your demonstration of understanding of the structure of triads in a diatonic system in a very specific way. There are 3 things you need to say about it. We want the Roman numeral name of the chord, we want the chord name, and then the chord spelled. For example, C major is not one of your keys for this evaluation because you should have C major under your belt already. But this is how the diatonic triad should go. I'm in the key of C major. The 1 chord is C major, it's spelled C-E-G. The 2 chord is D minor, spelled D-F-A. The 3 chord is E minor, spelled E-G-B, etc. You would just continue up all the diatonic triads in whatever key you're in that manner. I'd like to make an important point here. When you're talking about the Roman numerals, they are a number. They are Roman numerals. There is no TH, no th at the end of the word. We're not talking about the first chord. We're talking about the number 1 chord. And you can just say 1. You don't have to say number 1. We are not talking about the second chord. We're talking about the 2 chord. It's a number. We are not talking about the 3rd chord. We are talking about the 3 chord. We are not talking about the 4th chord. We are talking about the 4 chord, and so on. Please be careful with your verbiage. This is actually an important point. You can get into a discussion with musicians and other producers, and if the verbiage is not quite correct, you can end up with confusion or a few raised eyebrows as to exactly what you mean. Believe it or not, that TH, its presence or absence, can change the meaning of things. So when we're talking about Roman numerals, it is a number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chord, 6 chord, etc. Please be careful with that. When you get to the minor triads, we have to include, if you look here on this slide, it says include all triads available in both minor scales, meaning the natural minor and the harmonic minor. In the natural minor, when you build a 5 chord and you're based on the natural minor scale, your 5 chord is minor in quality. If you're building a 5 chord and you're using the harmonic minor scale, the 5 chord becomes major in quality. Same thing when you get to the 2 choices of 7 chord. If you're building a 7 chord using the natural minor scale, your 7 chord is a major quality triad. If you're building a 7 chord based on a harmonic minor scale, your 7 chord is a diminished triad. So let's talk through that. Let's think easy in the key of A minor. The 5 chord, A, B, C, D, E, is based on E. A, natural minor, has no sharps or flats, so the 5 chord is E minor, E, G, B. If I'm going to use the harmonic minor scale, A harmonic minor, that means I take the 7th scale degree, in this case it's the note G, and I raise that 7th scale degree by 1/2 step. So that means I raise G up to G sharp. Well, when I spelled my 5 chord, it was E, G, B in natural minor. Now I'm using harmonic minor, the G is now a sharp. So it's E, G sharp, B. So now the 5 chord is a major quality triad when I'm using the harmonic minor scale to build the chord. Then let's look at the 7 chord, the 2 options for the 7 chord. Again, A natural minor. The notes are A, B, C, D, E, F, G. No sharps or flats. G is the 7th scale degree in A natural minor. I am building a chord based on G, and that becomes G, B, D. So the 7 chord, when I'm basing my chord built on the structure of the natural minor scale, is a G major chord. The 7 chord is a major triad. In this case, it is G major, spelled GBD. Let's go over to making that an A harmonic minor scale. Recall from a moment ago, the G became G sharp. Now, in this case, I am using the same letter name, but I'm actually beginning the diminished 7 chord on a different note. I'm beginning it on a note that's 1/2 step higher than it was when I was basing my 7 chord in a natural minor scale. So, my new starting pitch for the 7 for the 7 chord is now G sharp. I don't change the other notes. My chord is now spelled G sharp, B, D. That makes it a diminished triad. So that 7 chord, based on using an harmonic minor scale, is G sharp diminished, spelled G sharp, B, D. When I get to that point, going through the triads in minor keys, for example, you need to spell them in order, much like you did in major, but when you get to the 5 chord, you have to name both options, and when you get to the 7 chord, you have to name both options. So, in A minor, the 1 chord is A minor, spelled A-C-E. The 2 chord is B diminished, spelled B-D-F. The 3 chord is C major, spelled C-E-G. The 4 chord is D minor, spelled D-F-A. The 5 chord, using natural minor scale, is E minor, spelled E-G-B. The 5 chord using the harmonic minor scale is E major, spelled E, G sharp, B. The 6 chord is F major, spelled F-A-C. The 7 chord using the natural minor scale is G major, spelled G-B-D. The 7 chord using the harmonic minor scale is G sharp diminished, spelled G sharp, B-D. That's exactly how we'd like to see you go through all the triads in the minor keys that you'll be studying. Now, keep in mind, A minor is not one of your keys. For the first evaluation, it's G major and E minor, its relative minor, F major and D minor, F major's relative minor. After you name them, do not name one, play it. Name one, play it. No. We really want you to think and make sure you understand the theory and have a grasp on it. You must name all the triads first in the manner just described. Roman numeral, letter name, spelling. Name all of those that belong in a key, then go and play them after they're done. There is no metronome restriction. You don't have to play them at any particular speed. Just play all the triads right in a row. Get them going. You will also have in each evaluation every week, you will have a little 8-bar tune of some type that is intended to help you get a little more comfortable on the keyboard. This is the first one. It's very simple. Please note, these letters, these tiny little letters here, denote fingering, which fingers of which hand. Keep in mind, let's take a look here. This is called a grand staff. We have two staves, a treble clef and a bass clef stave. They are joined together by a line, and they continue to be through the whole piece. They are also bracketed together with this bracket. That makes it, that makes it a grand staff. Having been joined together and bracketed, it is a grand staff. This ordinarily indicates this is for piano. Other instruments can read from it, of course. It is generally intended for a piano, meaning pianist will play everything written in the treble clef with the right hand, and everything written in the bass clef with the left hand. So when I begin this piece, I strongly suggest you play hands separately at least a few times, and play the left hand, or left hand first and then right hand. Work with a metronome. Slowly try and add the two parts together. There is no metronome marking here for a reason. I'd prefer you work with a metronome so that you can actually get it in a steady fashion without stops and starts while you're playing. But you don't have to go at any set particular speed. Just be steady, work with the metronome, be on time, make sure you are with the metronome, but you can go as slow as you would like. Again, these little numbers, that's your fifth finger, pinky of the left hand. Keep in mind, another problem I see with students, these notes are only an octave apart. Some of you may have other keyboards aside from the 25-note keyboard that comes with your program. And in that case, I see students spread their hands way out, several octaves apart. This is G4, that's G3. They're only an octave apart. This can be played on the 25-note keyboard without a problem. All right, let's keep looking on. These are your solfege exercises. There is an excellent tutorial on looking at solfege, and I would suggest at that point you look there. I'll just give you a brief glance through. When we are looking at solfege, we're using a movable do system, which means whatever key we're in, scale degree 1 is do, scale degree 2 is re, scale degree 3 is mi, and so on. So where do is depends on what key you're in. Do is the first scale degree of whatever key you're in, so you have to know what key you're in to sing the solfege correctly. This particular exercise, I have 1 sharp. That is the key signature of either G major or E minor. I will tell you because there is so much GBD chord outlining. It ends on G, it starts on G. Strong beats, beat 2 has a B, a D, that's part of the G chord. We're in the key of G major here, not E minor. Although we cannot tell from the key signature, you have to actually look at the music to figure out what key you're in. In that case, here's a G, that is do. There's scale degree 2, that's re. Scale degree 3 is mi. Scale degree 2 again is re, do. This is scale degree 5, that would be so. Scale degree 3 is mi, etc. Down here, exercise B, we have no sharps or flats. That could either be C major or A minor. You have to take a look at it and see our first few notes are A, C, and E. A, C, and E again. A, C, and E spell an A minor triad. It's looking like we're going to be in A minor, not C major. There's more A and C there. There's E and A in an A minor triad. That's the fifth of the triad and the root of the triad. There's some second scale degree happening there. Root of A minor chord. First scale degree if we're in A minor, which we are, but I'm just trying to help you see why. There is A, E, C, A. Again, an A minor triad is spelled, and it ends on an A minor triad. We're clearly in A minor. So now that we're in A minor, minor key, we still call scale degree 1 Do. The difference comes when you get to the third scale degree. In major, we have Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do. In minor, remember that third scale degree is 1/2 step lower. And in natural minor, the 6th and 7th scale degrees are also lower. And the verbiage, the solfege changes. Mi becomes may, la becomes lay, ti becomes te. Do my best to sing it in tune. So an A natural minor scale, now I'm not matching the pitch A. I'm simply singing it and keeping the relationships correct. I don't know what actual key I am in, and it's not important. I'm keeping the relationships correct. Do, should be a natural minor scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, te, do, te, la, so, fa, mi, re, do. So this would be do, may, so, and so forth. Take time to look that over, and again, check out the tutorial as well. There is a further tutorial on solfege aside from this little mini one that we just went through. Here are your rhythm exercises. There is a whole section in the campus lecture that I will edit in here that explains very clearly how to work with these simple subdivisions, both in compound meter and simple meter.
We're going to look in simple meter. I'm not putting note heads on to save time. Okay, cool. Well, you know what? For this one, I'll put them on just so it looks official and I don't trick you with my question. But this is a trick question. If you had me before, no answering. Are there any beats up there? Beats up there? Written up there? All in favor say aye. All not in favor say nay. Nobody's answering. Are there beats there or not? Okay, I'm getting a mixed response, which is fine. Some people say yes, some people say no. In fact, there are 0 beats written there because, and this is my trick question, you do not write beats. In the vernacular, yeah, I write my own beats. Yes, you do. And you should continue to speak that way because people will look at you nuts if you say the correct theoretical terminology of what's going on. Okay? So, hardcore theory. 0 beats written there. You don't write beats, you feel them. It's a pulse. It's a sense of boom, 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 like a heartbeat. You can't write it down, you feel it. Okay? Make sense? That's an important distinction. Again, I think it will help you execute what is written. What is written is rhythm. Rhythms are written, beats are felt. Make sense? Now, musicians constantly talk about them incorrectly. I just want you guys to understand the difference conceptually. If you guys get a concept, my job is to make myself obsolete as soon as possible. If you follow a concept, you can go figure out stuff on your own. So I'm a big fan of concept teaching, and that's what this point is. So in this particular setup, I got 0 beats written because they're felt, not written down. And I have a whole set of rhythm written here. And this is a set of written instructions. It tells me every time I feel a beat, what should I do? Well, this one's pretty clear. Every time I feel a beat in 4/4, I should make a sound that matches where that beat happens. Make sense? Conceptually, that's all I'm after. Great. Do it. 1, 2, clap and speak, go. Don't rush. Perfect. Super easy cheesy. It's when you get to the weird rhythms, if you understand the concept going in here, the weird rhythms are going to be easier. Okay, so phase 2. Now I'm not putting note heads because you guys get this. Again, by concept, there are 0 beats written here. That's my overdone bar line. 0 beats written here, but I have a new set of written instructions that is rhythm. What does this rhythm tell me? What should I do? Every time I feel a pulse, what should I do? Go ahead, go for it. What should I do every time I feel a pulse? Good for you. Perfect. All right, I'm going to do that. Okay, here I go. 1, here's my pulse. Here I go, and. That was deliberate. Was that right? What did I do wrong? You told me to make 2 sounds. Every time I felt a pulse, I made 2 sounds. Ah, they weren't equidistant. Right? Cool. You are so brave. I really appreciate that. I'm not trying to mess with you. I just wanted an answer. Okay, so this tells me specifically, every time I feel a pulse, make 2 equally spaced sounds. Do it. 1, 2, and clap and speak. Go. And. Beautiful. All right, next round. So now you know where I'm going. I can't trick you anymore. And the reason I do this is I find that when you go to attack more complicated rhythms, you haven't thought about it this way. And you're kind of like, I can't make sense of this. You know, you might understand the superficial when you're counting what numbers go where, but if you don't understand conceptually what's supposed to happen musically in space and time, music doesn't happen on paper. It happens in space and time and rhythm as well. Okay? So, you know where I'm going. What does this set of directions tell me? Every time I feel a pulse, what should I do? Make 4 equally spaced sounds. And the easy cheesy thing that musicians have done to help them get through that is 1 E and a 2 E and a. Ready? Do it. Clap and speak. Here you go. And. Perfect. That's all your first assessment only involves those 3 designations of rhythm, right? On the other side, here we go. Let me move this over because we're going to look at compound as well. What is the difference between compound and simple meter? Well, yeah, you know, you're right. You said compound's divisible by 3. Let's think of it a different way. Here's my pulse. Here's a pulse. You ready? Pulse, 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 pulse. Am I in simple or compound meter? You can't tell. I didn't give you enough information. I only gave you a pulse. In simple meter, what's the first level of division that a pulse is felt? First level of subdivision. Nope. Simple meter. Pulse, pulse, simple meter. First level that you subdivide to is 2s. First level of subdivision. In other words, I took the beat and made a sound that subdivided. The very first level was 2 equal parts. So, here's my pulse. Pulse, you can't tell what I'm in. If I'm in compound meter, what's the first level of subdivision? 3s, make sense? That's the big difference. That is the big difference between simple and compound meter. Okay? So, this is going to be important later, so I'll hit it now. What rhythmic unit equals 1 pulse in simple meter? Quarter note. This guy is the unit of pulse, if you will. If a pulse happens, the quarter note rhythm is what matches it in simple meter. Okay? So if I'm in compound meter, 6/8 or 12/8 or 9/8, it doesn't matter. What is the unit of pulse in compound meter? Yes. Dotted quarter, exactly. Wait, am I doing that right? Yes. Okay? So, that's the unit of pulse. So, if I played a metronome marking, and I'd have to tweak the math, if I just gave you a pulse, and I asked you to read this one or that one, you can't tell the difference, whether you're in simple or compound meter, right? You see my point? You need to know what the first level of subdivision, which I didn't put here, you need to know what the first level of subdivision is to decide what kind of meter we're in. In the meantime, read this. 1, 2, 1 lolly, go lolly. Yep, you can go ahead and ghost the lolly stuff, and that's really just a little pedagogical device to help you get it right. It's the same thing as counting 1 E and a 2 E and it's just a little learning, teaching device to help you get that stuff right. So, because I'm in compound meter, this rhythm says, even though it's a dot a quarter, it's because I'm in compound meter, that says make one sound that matches every pulse that goes by, right? You guys with me? Okay, so now, I have a written instruction that says, I'm in compound meter. What am I going to do every time I feel a pulse? 3 equally spaced sounds. That's what the 1 lolly, it's just supposed to help you get that right. That's all. Do it. 1, 2 lolly, 1 lolly, go lolly. Beautiful. Okay. If I were to tie these two together, I don't know if you can see that. I'm trying to make it visible. Okay, if I were to tie those two together, use the little syllables that are there to help you. How would you read that? You ready? 1, Lee, 2, Lee, 1, Lee, go. Yes, I want to hear that last Lee. Make sense? You guys following? You good? The easy way to rewrite this is 2/8 equals a quarter, and I got an eighth left over. Make sense? Because these are tied. 2/8 tied equals a quarter. I got a single eighth left over all by itself. 2/8 equals a quarter. I got an eighth left over. 2/8 tied is a quarter. I got an eighth left over. So these two patterns are completely identical. I can't tell them apart if someone were to perform them. They are written a little differently because this is tied, but when you tie them together, it's the same as that. Okay? So good. Do this one. 1, Lee, 2, Lee, 1, Lee, go, Lee. Perfect. All right, let's do it the other way. I should put a 6/8 here, and I should do that better. Okay, just read these guys again. 3 equally spaced sounds on every pulse. 2 lolly, 1 lolly, go lolly. Awesome. Let's flip. Let's tie the back two and see what you get. Take a second. If you have to stand up to say it, stand up. Move around, whatever you got to do to say it, because I really want you guys to follow this. This is like ground-based concept stuff. You follow this, and you figure out what the underlying concept is, you'll be able to figure any rhythm out. It might take you a couple minutes, but you can figure any rhythm out. You ready? Give it a whirl. 1, 2, Lee. 1, wait a minute, I did it wrong. 1 la, 2 la, 1 la, go la. Beautiful. I just screwed up the syllables. So, same deal. I can rewrite this. I got an eighth note by itself. 2/8 tied together equals a quarter. Eighth by itself, 2 tied is a quarter. Eighth by itself, 2 tied is a quarter. Eighth by itself, 2 tied is a quarter. They're identical, just written differently. Okay? Do the second line. 1, 2 la, Lee, 1 la, go. Count. Perfect. Make sense? Good. Those are the only rhythms you're going to hit in the first evaluation. Questions? Cool. So take the time to look through. Everything that's in the evaluations is open the whole month. Like you can open the last
Here we
evaluation.
are back again looking at our chord
inclined.
progressions. Keep in mind your first evaluation has 4 chord progressions. A simple progression in just the key of G major, 1 to 5 to 6 to 4, back to the 1 chord. There are repeat signs, of course. It's done twice. It must be performed with the MP3 tracks and with just one hand. There is no reason to split triads between two hands. Do it with your dominant hand. It is best if you move forward to using smooth voice leading and proper leading tone resolution. We're going to talk about functional harmony in just a moment, but to be clear, what I'm getting at is the leading tone of the key must resolve properly. That is the 7th scale degree in any major key, or minor key if it's a half step below tonic. That 7th scale degree is called the leading tone. That 7th scale degree resolves by moving upward to the 8th, which is really 1. It's 1, but we're at the top of the scale, by resolving to the 8th scale degree, which is the same note as scale degree 1. It's an important concept in functional harmony that the 7th scale degree resolve upward by half step back to tonic. I'm just going to leave it at that. We'll talk a little more in a discussion that's coming up about functional harmony. So, perform these progressions, use smooth voice leading and proper leading tone resolution. Well, don't worry about that too much. I've given you some options right here. This is the best, easiest option right there, written out for you. So let's look at G major. I have my nice 25 keyboard here. G major, it says root position. Oh, my thumb was in the way, my other thumb. There you go. There's a G major chord. Next, I need a 5 chord. What's the 5 chord in the key of G? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, D major. That would be here, but I'm going to play it here. There's my D major. But in order to have smooth voice leading, I need to use, I'm pointing to the screen and you can't see it. I needed a 5 chord. I need it in first inversion. Here's my 5 chord in G major, a D major chord. That's root position though. I want first inversion. So let's invert it. To invert it, you simply take the lowest note and put it up on top. So instead of D, F sharp, A, I'm now going to have F sharp, A, D. That's first inversion, right? The next thing I need is a 6 chord, and I'll remember what we just did for you, or you can stop the video. The next thing we need is a 6 chord. What's the 6 chord in the key of G major? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is E minor. And I'm going to play that down an octave again. E minor, and again we need it in first inversion to get smooth voice leading. So here's E minor in root position. Let's put that into first inversion. Take this note, put it up on the top. So instead of E, G, B, we now have G, B, E up here. The chord we just played that I promised I would remember for you was F sharp, A, D. That was the 5 chord right here. Now we're moving to the 6 chord in first inversion, which we just figured out was G, B, E. So we're going from here, the 5 chord, to the 6 chord in first inversion. Now let's step back a second. We started with 1 chord in root position. Here's your 1 chord. Here's your 5 chord in first inversion. Here's your 6 chord also in first inversion. And here's all 3 of them without me stopping. 1, 2, 3, 5 chord first inversion. 1, 2, 3, 4. 6 chord first inversion. 2, 3, 4. Now we still have 1 more chord to go. Now we need a 4 chord in second inversion. That's going to be the easiest way to get the smooth voice leading done. So what's a 4 chord in the key of G? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a C major chord. I'm going to play it down here. That's root position. As you can see on that, that slide, we need second inversion. So let's invert it. There's C major root position. Remember, it's the 4 chord in the key of G. Let's invert it up to first inversion, and we'll put the C up on top. So E, G, C is now a first inversion C chord, but we need second inversion. So that means we just flip it one more time, put the E up on top. There is a C chord, second inversion. G, C, E. And after that, we have to return back to the 1 chord because we're taking this repeat. We have to return back to the 1 chord. And it's right in root position. Okay? So here's the whole thing all the way through. G in root position, 1, 2, 5 chord, D major first inversion, F sharp, A, D. E minor, first inversion. G, B, E. Here's the C chord, second inversion, C, E, G, E, C. Good. Now I stopped. I wasn't steady. Sorry about that, but I'm trying to point out what they are and how they work. I'm going to return to the 1 chord again because I'm taking the repeat. D chord, first inversion. 1, 2, 3. 6 chord, first inversion. 1, 2, 3. C chord, 4 chord, second inversion. 2, 3, 4, 1. There you go. Now, you can see from that my hand moved around very little, and that's the point of smooth voice leading. As a keyboard player, yes, you don't want your hand to jump all over, but it's not just about playing the keyboard. When you arrange for any set of instruments, you don't want an instrument player, a trumpet player, a sax player, a guitar player, a trombone, anything. You don't want them playing one note here and jumping way up. It's uncharacteristic of the instrument, and more importantly, it generally sounds pretty awful. So developing the skill on the keyboard is only step 1. Yes, it's important on the keyboard, but it's going to carry over to any instruments you ever set down an arrangement for. So start to wrap your head around these smooth voice leadings and the directives that I've put here to try and help you. Now, these are said here to help you out, but keep in mind, they're not the only options. I personally think for students who may not have a lot of keyboard skills under their hands and are really just beginning to think about smooth leading by way of using inversions, this is, in my opinion, the easiest way to go. Now, if you understand inversions properly and you can invert a chord correctly and you choose options other than this, that's okay. In this progression in particular, it'll work out fine. And partially what I'm getting at is the position of the 5 chord. The 5 chord has that leading tone, that 7th scale degree that I was talking about. And I'm not that worried about how it resolves when it's buried in a progression. But when the 5 chord is in the end position right before the final 1 chord, then it makes a big difference. We'll talk about that more. Generally speaking, honestly, you're probably better off just using these suggested inversions. Now, we have a different progression for F major, but you're going to use the same principles. Here are 2 possibilities for how to play the F major progression. Now, granted, you have 4 evaluations, 1 at the end of each week, but they are smaller. In the past, they had been much larger evaluations and only twice in the course. There are 4 now, and they are smaller. This is a different progression for F major. The 1 chord to the 6 chord to the 4 chord to the 5 chord. There's that 5 chord before it returns back to 1 when you take the repeat. And when you go through the second time, that 5 chord resolves to 1. Right here is where you must resolve that leading tone properly. And let's look at that right now. So let's look at F major. 1 to 6. The first suggestion is both in root position. That's going to be easy. Here's your F major in root position. What's the 6th chord in F major? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops, my bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's a D minor. I'm going to play it down here, of course. The rule for smooth voice leading is to not go any distance larger than a third. Doesn't matter major or minor, doesn't matter. It's just the distance of a third cannot be exceeded between any of the individual notes. If I go FAC up to D, F, A, I did play 1 to 6, but this note is considered to have jumped to the D. The A is considered to have jumped up to the F. And the C is considered to have jumped up to the A. In every instance, the distance leaped was a 6. That is not smooth voice leading, not good voice leading. That's why one progression of a 1 chord to a 6 chord, if you go down, you're just right within the limit. Every note went down a third. F went to D this way, A went to F that way, C went to A this way. So here is the 1 chord, 1 chord down to the 6 chord. Done. That's pretty easy. Let's look at our progression continuing on. We next need a 4 chord, and we're going to need it in first inversion. We're in the key of F. What's the 4 chord? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's B flat major. But we need it in first inversion. So Here's root position. First inversion I get by taking the lowest note and flipping it up to the top. So now instead of B flat D F, I have D F B flat. Obviously I'm not going to play it there because I started my F progression here. So that's the 1 to 6. Down here it's going to work. Next I need a 4 chord. What's the 4 chord in B flat? 4 chord in F major is B flat major. Right? I'm going to invert that into first inversion because that's what I'm looking for. Take the B flat and put that up on top. I end up with D, F, A, but I'm going to play it down an octave. Well, look how convenient that is. I just got done playing the chord D, F, A. That was the 6th chord. That was D minor in the key of F, the 6th chord. The next chord I want is a B flat chord in first inversion. There it is, D, F, B flat. So from here, I played a 6 minor chord, D minor. With the change of 1 note, I went to playing a 4 chord that's major, B flat major. The next thing I need right here in my progression is a 5 chord, and I'm going to need it in first inversion. So I'm in F major. What's the 5 chord? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I can't see, I'm too close. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the 5 chord is C major, but I need it in first inversion. Again, put the C up on top. That's E, G, C. But of course I'm going to play it down here, not up there, right? I just got done playing D, F, B flat. If I go to E, G, B, now I'm playing the 5 chord. And when I return to 1, I'm in the key of F. This is the leading tone. 7 must go to 8. It must resolve up a half step to tonic. So when I do this, for the 5 chord, C major in first inversion, the 5 chord in the key of F major, I'm right back there. 7 went to 8, and I'm right back at my F chord. So here is, I'll play the whole thing all the way through twice, this set of choices of how to invert. I'm in F major, 1 chord, 2, 3. I'm going to D minor root position. That's a 6 chord, 2, 3. B flat, first inversion, 3, 4. C major, first inversion. Taking the repeat. Right there on my hands there. F, D minor in root position. B flat major, first inversion is the 4 chord, 2, 3. C major, first inversion, 2, 3, 4, and then I finish 2. And there's a fermata, so I can just let it ring. So there is how you would work through smooth voice leading for these 2 progressions. There is another option here for the F major only. You can do the one we just worked through, or you can look at this one. You know how to invert chords. Be careful. Invert carefully. If you find other options in which the leading tone moves up by half step to resolve, you're okay. I strongly suggest you stick with these options unless you're really sure about what you're doing, because if you do not invert properly, you're wrong and the chord is wrong and you lose points. So that's why these are built in here, to help you really start to get a grip on this. All right, let's move on to the next. Yes, the minor progressions. All right, so these work exactly the same way, except you're in a minor key. We were just looking at F major, so let's look at D minor, all right? Since that's the relative minor key to F major. All right, let's take a look at the D minor progression. Please note, as you look through these progressions, we have a minor 1 chord, of course, makes sense. Please do notice we are in 6/8, we are in compound meter. We have 2 pulses per bar. So the 1 chord lasts for 2 pulses. This represents a dotted quarter note. This is slash notation, but we do have to show the dot there. 1 chord minor for a full bar. 3 chord for a full bar. It's going to be in second inversion. We'll talk about that in a minute. 4 chord for a full bar. That has to be in first inversion, or these are the suggested inversions that are going to work best for you. However, when we get to the 5 chord, several things to note here. We have a repeat sign, which means we're going to play this more than once. We're going to repeat it, end up playing twice. When you have a situation where something is written normally and then written in parentheses, inevitably there's a repeat sign. It's an indication that the first time through you play what is notated normally. The second time through on the repeat, you play what is notated in the parentheses. So therefore, second time around, we're going to use this. That means as I play the progression, I'll play a 1 chord, a 3 chord, second inversion, 4 chord, first inversion, first time, minor 5 chord in first inversion. Remember, you can get 2 types of 5 chords depending on which scale you're building your 5 chord on. You get a minor 5 chord when you're building on the natural minor. You get a major 5 chord when you're building on the harmonic minor. Second time through, 1 chord, 3 chord, 4 chord, major 5 chord, and you finish. Let's look at that on the keyboard. So, very first thing we need is a D minor, 1 chord, root position. Easy enough. There we go, D, F, A. The next thing we need is a 3 chord in the key of D minor. What's the 3 chord? If you said F major, you are correct, but we need it in second inversion. So here's the D minor I start with. I'm going to play that 3 chord down here. It doesn't matter where. I do have to invert it to get to the right inversion. So here's F in root position. I need it in second inversion. Put the F on top. I get A, C, F. It's my F chord in first inversion, but I need second, so I'm going to invert one more time. A up on top gives me C, F, A. There's an F chord, second inversion. I just came from the previous chord, which was D minor in root position. Doesn't get smoother than that. By simply moving this D down to C, you're now moving to an F chord, a major quality chord in second inversion. So from the beginning, we have minor 1, D minor, DFA, to CFG, CFA. That's an F chord in second inversion. First 2 measures done. I'll remember that for you. Let's look through next. Our next chord required is a 4 chord in this key. Of course, in a minor key, the 4 chord is minor quality. In this key, D minor, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's G minor. Of course, in the key of D minor, B flat is in the key signature. So that means it's going to be a, G, B flat, D, a G minor chord. And there it is. But we need it in first inversion. Here's root position. First inversion means I'm going to invert it the first time, put the G up on top. I now have B flat, D, G. I just came from C, F, A. So I'm going to move down to B flat, D, G. Didn't break any smooth voice leading rules. Nothing moved greater than a third in distance. So there's the measure 3, the G minor chord in first inversion, B flat, D, G. The next chord required the first time through is a minor 5 because it's going to be based on the natural minor scale. Here's the natural minor scale of D minor. So when I form the 5 chord, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's A, C, E. It's minor quality. But I need that in first inversion, so let's invert it. A, C, E, put the A up on top, I get C, E, A. Done. The chord prior to that was the 4 chord in first inversion, which in this key was G minor, and we played B flat, D, G. So there it is. Moving to the minor 5 chord, C, E, A. We're going to repeat again. This is the second time through. Again, I'm going to play 1 chord in root position, 3 chord second inversion, 4 chord first inversion. This time, second time through, I need a major 5 chord because I'd be using the harmonic minor. D harmonic minor, I took the C and raised it a half step to make it C sharp. When I did that, my A minor chord became an A major. Again, in first inversion, put the A up on top. Now I have C sharp, E, A. I just came from this 4 chord, second time around, B flat, D, G. Now I'm going to C sharp, E, A, and I resolve back right to the 1 chord very nice and neatly right here. Well, here's the whole progression from the beginning, and I'll count off in 6/8 to get going. You have a track that you need to play along with. I'm not going to run the track, but you'll see how this works. I'm all ready. 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 1 lolly, 2 lolly. D minor, root position. F major, second inversion. G minor, first inversion. A minor, first inversion. D major root position, F major second inversion, G minor first inversion. I'm sorry I ruined the time, but you should stay nice and steady. But now my last time I'm going to A major and finishing off. Let me spell those for you out of time. Remember, I got off track trying to help you with the descriptions, but you need to stay nice and steady and with the track. D, F, A is your first chord. C, F, A is the 3 chord in second inversion. B flat, D, G is the 4 chord in first inversion, the G minor. First time through, you're playing C, E, A, and A minor in first inversion. Go around again, D, F, A, F major, second inversion, C, F, A, 4 chord first inversion, G minor, B flat, D, G. Second time through, you have a 5 chord that's A major, first inversion, C sharp, E, A. We play it through one more time without description so I play it correctly and in time. 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 1 lolly, here I go. Lolly, 2 lolly, 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 1 lolly, 2 lolly, minor 5. Second time around, 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 1 lolly, 2. A major, 2 lolly, 1 lolly, 2. That should assist you in working through all the minor keys that you come through. You're simply applying the same principle. Remember, the scale system and how we form chords is formulaic. So you should be just be able to reapply the formula in whatever key you're working in. Let's move forward for some tips for success in musicianship. Do start practicing your skills evaluations, the weekly evaluations, and for your quizzes and Aurelia musician quizzes early in the week. Don't wait till the last minute. Please practice a little bit every day. It really will help. I cannot emphasize enough that spending time, even just 15 minutes a day, will really help, particularly in Aurelia. Be sure to download your assignment materials ahead of time and work well in advance so then you can so that you can submit your assignments on time and not worry about missing the deadlines. Bottom line, take a deep breath. You can do this. Organize your work. Keep up with your calendar. Stay on task. As far as your Aurelian musician tests go, don't underestimate the value of working in them. Both of those programs, please keep in mind, each of the 4 Aurelia and musician tests can be taken up to 99 times to help you improve your score. Take advantage of that. Don't settle for a failing grade. Work ahead. Don't wait till the last minute. Don't settle for a failing grade. Keep taking the test. To improve your grade, I would suggest you take the test once, look at what really challenged you, and go and practice that in the practice area, not the test area. Then come back and go and take the test again and again. Go back and practice again if you need to, again and again. The advantage to the practice areas in both Aurelia and musician are that you can change the tempo when you're practicing. When it comes to the test, you cannot change the tempos. Another tip I'd like to point out for you, particularly when you're trying to analyze chord progressions and get those correctly named by Roman numeral in Aurelia. If you look at the section in FSO describing the Aurelia test while you're practicing, there is a screenshot and a little bit of verbiage on how you can boost the bass end of it. Another little quick trick, if you would like to stop Aurelia, if you stop the progression within Aurelia on the Aurelia screen, you lose everything. If you're just trying to stop a progression, say you got the first 2 chords and you want to click those in right away, but when the 3rd chord is played, you forget what happened. It kind of, ruins what your ear caught in the first 2. Click off the screen of Aurelia somewhere else onto your desktop. Don't open anything else up by accident, but click out of Aurelia. It will stop it. You'll still have to restart it again, but at least you won't have your ears bombarded with the next chord that you don't want to hear yet because you were just getting the first 2 right, for example. Give that a try.